Wild scenes as Alexandra Eala makes crowd erupt after matchpoint scare in Abu Dhabi. Wild scenes unfolded in Abu Dhabi as Alexandra Eala turned a near collapse into a roaring comeback, sending the crowd into a frenzy after surviving a matchpoint scare in the second round of the 2026 Abu Dhabi Open. The 20-year-old Filipina dug deep to outlast Alexandra Sasnovich 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 5. In a contest that swung violently in momentum and emotion. A one-sided opening set sees Alexandra Sasnovich take firm control of the contest. Sasnovich set the tone early in the opening set. Serving with a first serve percentage of nearly 70%, Sasnovich effectively neutralized Eala's return game by varying her placement, winning 88% of her first serve points, 14-16, to race to a 6-2 lead. Eala struggled with her second serve protection, winning only 3 of 7 points, as Sasnovich stepped inside the baseline to take the ball early and create sharp angles that pulled the younger Filipina wide. The narrative shifted in the second set as Eala began to extend the rallies, forcing Sasnovich into more physical exchanges. While the statistical sheet showed high unforced error counts on both sides, Eala's tactical shift was evident in the breakpoint pressure she applied. She successfully converted 2 of 12 breakpoint opportunities. The technical turning point occurred at 4-4, where Eala's ability to defend the deuce court slice serve allowed her to reset rallies and eventually break Sasnovich's serve to take the set 6-4. How did Alexandra Eala survive a match point and reignite the crowd? The third set elevated the drama. Sasnovich surged to a 4-0 lead, appearing to have steadied herself just as Eala's energy dipped. Facing a break point that would have pushed the deficit to 5-0, Eala ripped a forehand winner that changed the temperature inside the stadium. The comeback gathered steam as games stacked up and the crowd grew louder with each hold and break. More, Alexandra Eala selling out stadiums at Abu Dhabi Open draws strong reaction from fellow pro. Sasnovich served for the match at 5-2 and held a match point, but Eala charged forward, finishing at the net to stay alive. From there, the tension only tightened. They reached a tiebreak, where Eala trailed 5-4 before staying composed as Sasnovich faltered. 3 straight points later, Eala sealed the win, 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 5, and collapsed into emotion as the stands erupted. The victory booked her a quarter-final meeting with world number 11 Ekaterina Alexandrova. This is going to be their first meeting on the WTA Tour, with the winner facing either 5th seed Ludmila Samsonova or Hailey Baptiste in the semifinals. Eala is also active in the doubles event with partner Janice Tien. The pair defeated Leylah Fernandez and Kristina Mladenovic 7-5, 3-6, 10-6 to reach the quarterfinals, where they will face second seeds Zhang Shuai and Kristina Buxa. Wild scenes in the desert, Alexandra Eala makes the crowd erupt after a matchpoint scare in Abu Dhabi. The desert has a way of holding its breath. Under the white blaze of Abu Dhabi lights, where the heat lingers even after sunset and the air smells faintly of salt and sand, the tennis court became a stage. Not the quiet, polite kind. This was theater with a pulse. The crowd knew it before the players did. Something was coming. Something wild. Alexandra Eala stood at the baseline, racket in hand, eyes fixed forward. Across the net, the moment trembled on a knife's edge. Match point against her. One swing away from silence. One mistake from the long walk-off court that follows a loss you'll replay for weeks. The stadium, full but hushed, seemed to contract. Even the banners fluttering above the stands looked frozen, as if the desert wind itself had decided to watch. Then the serve came. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't meant to be. It kicked up, high and awkward, daring her to hesitate. Eala didn't. She stepped in and cracked the return, the ball slicing through the dry night air like a dare thrown back. The rally ignited instantly, fast, sharp, merciless. Forehands screamed cross-court. A backhand skidded low, nearly kissing the line. Shoes squealed. Someone in the crowd gasped, loud enough to be heard. Match point saved. The sound that followed wasn't applause. It was release. A roar burst out of the stands, rolling and echoing, bouncing off concrete and glass, surging like a wave across the court. Flags were lifted. Phones shot into the air. Somewhere high up, a group of fans started chanting her name, each syllable louder than the last. The desert had exhaled. But Eala wasn't done. She didn't pump her fist or look up to the crowd. Not yet. She walked back to the line, jaw set, eyes burning with a quiet kind of defiance, the kind that says, "You'll have to do better than that to stop me." The next point came, and with it another test. A long rally stretched time thin. The ball traced impossible angles, shadows dancing across the blue court. Sweat darkened the collar of her kit. When the point finally ended in her favor, she let out a sharp cry, raw, unfiltered, human. The crowd answered. What followed felt less like a tennis match and more like a storm breaking. Each point fed the next. Momentum, once a rumor, became law. Eala's movement sharpened, her shots gained bite. She chased down balls that should have been winners and turned defense into attack with fearless swings. The opponent faltered, just enough. A double fault drew a collective intake of breath. A missed volley pulled a shout from the front rows. Abu Dhabi was fully awake now. Drums began to beat somewhere in the stands. People stood. Strangers high-fived. The noise rose and fell with every exchange, a living thing responding to every stroke. Under the lights, the court shimmered, heat rising in soft waves, as if the desert itself were leaning in to watch a young player refuse to be written out of her own story. Another game. Another hold. Then the break. When the decisive moment arrived, it came almost too fast. A short ball landed in Eala's strike zone, begging. She stepped forward and unloaded, the ball rocketing past her opponent and smacking the back wall with a sound like punctuation. Match over. For half a second, there was disbelief. Then chaos. The crowd exploded, no other word fit. People jumped to their feet as one, a wall of sound crashing down onto the court. Cheers ricocheted off the stands. Flags waved wildly. Someone screamed her name until their voice cracked. The eruption wasn't polite or measured, it was visceral, earned, electric. Eala stood still, hand over her mouth, eyes wide. The realization hit her in waves. She had been 1 point from defeat. 1 breath from heartbreak. And now she was standing in the center of Abu Dhabi, victorious, the noise of thousands pouring over her like rain after drought. She raised her arms, and the roar grew louder. In that moment, the desert didn't feel empty or vast. It felt alive. The lights burned brighter. The night hummed. The court, scuffed and marked by long rallies, looked like a map of the battle just fought. Every scrape told a story. Every bounce mark was proof. As she walked to the net, applause followed her step for step. Respect, admiration. This wasn't just about a win, it was about nerve. About staying upright when the ground tries to tilt. About staring down match point and choosing courage over caution. Later, people would talk about the scoreline, the statistics, the rankings. They'd replay the highlights, slow motion the winning shot, analyze technique and tactics. But those who were there would remember.